Welcome to the video, guys. Now, with the current coronavirus situation, the government is using unprecedented powers to try and control the situation, which most people are going along with, even if, like me, they don't necessarily agree with them. But there is something that was announced yesterday I do have a massive problem with for a variety of reasons, even if it might well be helpful in dealing with this situation. There still has to be limits imposed, I think. Now, this is obviously relating to the news yesterday that said the NHS is launching a new app to trace all who have been near coronavirus victims, which has likely got a few of you listening thinking the same as me in regards to using this app, and that is never. Because in my opinion, they can already track and trace us enough through the technology we use on a daily basis as it is. They do not need any app where they literally have our permission to do it. But we'll take a quick look at what Matt Hancock had to say yesterday when he announced the new app, and we'll take a look at a couple of articles and go over why I think this is such a bad idea and I have no interest in ever installing it on my phone, and should it ever become compulsory, I would rather throw my phone in the bin. So let's take a look at what Matt Hancock actually said yesterday with a straight face.
Testing, of course, has a huge role in our response, and we have discussed repeatedly testing at these press conferences. I'm pleased to say that 42,812 NHS and social care staff and their families have now been tested. And as we ramp up our ability to test in large numbers, we also need to make sure we have the ability to trace contacts just as effectively. And so today I wanted to outline the next step, a new NHS app for contact tracing. If you become unwell with the symptoms of coronavirus, you can securely tell this new NHS app. And the app will then send an alert anonymously to other app users that you've been in significant contact with over the past few days, even before you had symptoms, so that they know and can act accordingly. All data will be handled according to the highest ethical and security standards, and would only be used for NHS care and research, and we won't hold it any longer than it's needed. And as part of our commitment to transparency, we'll be publishing the source code too. We're already testing this app, and as we do this, we're working closely with the world's leading tech companies and renowned experts in clinical safety and digital ethics, so that we can get this right.
Right, before we address the nonsensical app, let's just go over what he said at the beginning regarding testing. It's amazing how testing is important now, when essentially the UK, in comparison to other countries, has done next to nothing. We are still, as far as I'm aware, only testing NHS staff, and most of them apparently haven't even been tested yet, which is likely part of the reason why our death rate seems so high compared to the number of confirmed infected. So obviously, testing has not really been that important to them, so it's just talking shit there. You heard it, guys, the next step, an NHS app for contact tracing, which, as you also heard, will be facilitated by major tech firms like Google, Apple and Microsoft, which should give everyone nice warm feelings inside. But the best moment is when he says all data will be handled with the highest ethical and privacy matters in mind, which, given the NHS's record on data, really doesn't give me much hope. Because you notice how he says we won't hold it any longer than it's needed, rather than saying we won't hold it past when you would likely have cleared the infection. Because, let's be honest, if you've cleared the infection and are no longer infectious to other people, then they have no reason to keep your data. But the word in there has just allowed them to essentially keep it for an unlimited amount of time. And given that just on the 23rd of March we had this article here saying critical NHS cybersecurity checks suspended due to coronavirus response, makes me extremely concerned about this app and the data contained within it, which will be highly sensitive personal and health related data, including obviously your location data. And then let's not also forget that when their data systems are working perfectly and they have full security, they still end up suffering data breaches. Here we have July 2nd, 2018. NHS data breach affects 150,000 patients in England. So even when the security is not down because they're dealing with a pandemic, the NHS is prone to losing your data. And you say, oh no, that's just one story you got there. When, obviously, no it's not. We have Friday the 6th of September 2019. NHS Gender Identity Clinic discloses email contacts of 2,000 patients. So, yep, definitely trustworthy with your location data in real time, which is what this app will have. Here, even the staff are not safe. NHS data breach exposes 24 staff data in Scotland. Oh, this app should be nice and secure then, shouldn't it? Can't even keep staff data safe, for Christ's sake. Now here in the Telegraph's article we have a little bit more information on the project itself. The project, which involves close collaboration with the world's leading tech companies, has been pitched as a tool that could help the UK navigate its way out of lockdown by offering more effective means of telling individuals to self-isolate. Yeah, because people that are sick, even telling them to self-isolate is really going to work. Telling people that the country's locked down seems to have worked so far, doesn't it? Because if media reports are to be believed, then lots of people are just flouting this. 3,000 people in a park last week, weren't it? Even though I know the park personally, and 3,000 people couldn't fit in it. And the wide-angle picture that they showed of the park actually looked like it had about 50 people in it at most, likely more than 50 or 100 metres apart. So, actually following the social distancing rules. But we all know what the media is like, they love a little bit of controversy and to make a scene. NHSX, the technology unit of the NHS, has reportedly been working with Apple and Google to create a contact tracing app. The two tech firms announced on Friday that they were teaming up on a contract tracer involving Bluetooth signals. So you will now be seeing a lot of people switching off their Bluetooth, that is for sure. If you become unwell, you can securely tell this new NHS app, and the app will then send an alert anonymously to other app users who you've been in significant contact with, the Health Secretary said, as you heard. Though users can opt into the app voluntarily at the moment, privacy warnings have been issued amid concerns that patient data could be compromised with the involvement of tech firms. We've already seen that patient data can be compromised just with the involvement of the NHS, so I would share those concerns. In recent weeks, the NHS has enlisted the likes of Google, Amazon and Microsoft, as well as artificial intelligence startups, to help in its response to the outbreak. Head of the computational privacy group at Imperial College London has warned that such apps could collect sensitive information, like location data, as I said earlier. Mr. Hancock attempted to push back on privacy concerns, claiming all data will be handled according to the highest ethical and security standards, and that data wouldn't be held any longer than is needed, which I've already addressed. And considering the infection only lasts for like a few weeks after you first catch it, they said, should only be a few weeks at most. But we know it's the government and it won't be that. Longer than needed could mean 10 years, or it could mean 6 months, we just don't know. But is another reason why I'm not very happy about this app and certainly would never be using it. I've been locked down for more than 3 weeks now, so I can tell you what contact I've had with who, and that is none. You don't need an app for me to tell you that, and you never will. And I mean, let's be honest, if classified documents about this program here can be seen by The Guardian, which you can see in this article we're looking at now, then I definitely 100% do not trust this app, the government or the NHS's ability to keep the information on it safe. And I mean, let's not forget, this whole system sounds like something that the Chinese government would do, not the UK government. Maybe I'm wrong, but I highly doubt I am on that one. One portion of the project involves giving leaders in the NHS, Cabinet Office and Downing Street a live feed of accurate statistics on hospitalisations, availability of critical care beds, ventilator orders and oxygen supplies, which I would have absolutely no problem with, and to be honest, should have been in place long before this. But this next bit I do kind of have a problem with. However, the documents also appear to show the project includes large volumes of data pertaining to individuals, including protected health information, test results, the contents of people's calls to NHS Health Advice Line 111, and clinical information about those in intensive care, which is risky just for the NHS or the government to have, let alone third-party tech companies. While such data will be anonymised, it remains sensitive and confidential, and its use on a centralised new government database is likely to raise questions among privacy experts. A Whitehall source said they were alarmed at the unprecedented amounts of confidential health information being swept up in the project, which they said was progressing at alarming speed and with insufficient regard for privacy, ethics or data protection. Which I think you will agree, while we don't know if it's true, is rather concerning, as if the app itself shouldn't be concerning enough. The document also suggests that, while anonymised, confidential information in the coronavirus data store may include people's gender, postcode, symptoms, the mechanism through which any prescription was dispatched to them, and the precise time they ended the call. The project appears to be using a pseudo NHS number to cross-match large data sets, including a master patent index, an existing NHS resource that uses social marketing data to segment the British population into different types at household level. This one is especially concerning for a lot of people, I'm sure. While not a current priority, phone location data could be used in the data store after it was offered to the government by 2 private companies for help with contact tracing, which was actually pointed out by Rotten Politics over on his channel the other day. I'll link the video in the description for you below. The NHS declined to say which companies had offered the location data or how it would be used. Yeah, of course they did. We don't care about the herd immunity thing, apparently it never happened. And you know what, the rest of it is just a load of old bollocks. Essentially, as I'm sure most of you would agree, I do not like the sounds of this app. While I'm all for the government finding out who's got it and who hasn't, and keeping those people away from others who might be infected and at risk from this virus, the cure cannot be worse than the virus itself, which these sorts of overreaching powers and apps to trace where we've been and all of this nonsense is, in my opinion, going a bit too far and putting people's personal information at great risk. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.